to go online now. So just kindly give me a few moments to recoup myself. Okay, I'm all I informed registrar about the same, and he said I can go home, but I thought I will take the class and then I will go home. Actually what happened was yesterday and day before yesterday, right, I had Viva for the first year students, and the Viva started at early in the morning at 10 and it went on till about 9 o'clock day before yesterday. Not 9 o'clock, it went on till 8 o'clock day before yesterday, and yesterday it went till 7:30. So I was quite tired and etc. And today suddenly that motorcycle came in between and then they stopped. So all those things, unfortunate things happened, but I'm fortunate to be talking to you guys again. Now yeah, okay, I'll share my screen on Google Meet, my entire screen. So I kind of showed you how to host a particular website on a server, right? And you can very well try and do that right now by yourself. And I also showed you the DNS interfaces, DNS cPanel, right? DNS cPanel on the Cloudflare when I was adding CSOE13.iitt.sa.in, right? Is it still available? Yeah, I think that should be still available, right? Homepage of CSOE13.iitt.ac.in, and I think we yeah, it is still available. Okay, so now after that we started with PHP. So why would PHP be such a popular language? You're learning Python, you're learning Golang, Java, Golang, C, C++, different programming languages, right? Many programming languages are there, but still there is some language called PHP and that is very popular. But why is the web not taken over by other programming languages? Of course there are many programming languages like Microsoft languages are there, many, I don't remember all the names. But the major thing is that PHP is very popular, which means that it is easy, it is something that everyone can pick up, and there are a lot of developers who work on PHP, okay, and that itself is the reason why this is so popular, which means that you will get more help and you will have more websites running on PHP. Also, you will have more people to maintain your website once it is created, or your application once it's created, because one second, I'll share today's link also. I forgot to share that. So I guess the last accident I had was when I was in Punjab, Patiala, Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. I was teaching there. I think that was in the year 2018 or 17, and in between these 2 years, okay. But that one was a motorcycle accident. I fell down from the motorcycle, and that was again terrific. What happened was a motorcycle in front of me. Okay, I was on the left lane, okay. Actually that's a 2-lane road, dual carriage, okay. It's like a 4-lane, so dual carriage on one way, okay. So I was in the middle, not in the middle, I was in the left lane, in the middle of that, okay, which means that I am going towards the left, and there was a motorcycle extremely on the left, as if he was riding on the the sand on the left. 3 people, okay, on a Hero Honda, 3 people on a Hero Honda, and all of a sudden these guys decided that they have to take a 90-degree right turn. And they just did it effectively, just causing me to fall down. And what happened was my fist, I don't know which direction I fell to, but my fist came and punched my chest, and I had the pain for a few months before it subsided, and this is the next accident. Anyway, yeah. So we were discussing about the interpreted strings, and we were discussing about the string functions, and we already discussed about the PHP syntax template, right? Embedding the PHP code in the HTML. Okay, so we have seen that it starts with the less than question mark PHP, and then it ends with question mark greater than symbol. Okay, and we saw that there are some string type in PHP. So with string, right, you can do string concatenation. Okay, so if you have 5 plus 2 turtle doves, 2 turtle doves is a string and 5 is an integer or a number, and it will produce the output as 7. But if you do a dot, it will actually concatenate the strings. Okay, and then we saw some functions for the same, and then in the interpreted strings, right, we were discussing about the double quotes and the single quotes for the enclosing the strings. So if you have the double quotes within the in which you are enclosing the string, right, you can use the variable name inside the enclosed double quote string, so that it will get evaluated with the value. Okay, so for example, as you can see in the first box over here, age is assigned with the value 16, and in the print you are age years old. Okay, so here age is a variable. So we know that in PHP everything and anything is, if it's a variable, it has to start with a dollar symbol. Okay, so you are $age years old \n. Now that gets evaluated to you are 16 years old. Now if you don't want the $age to be evaluated, right, you can put it in single quotes, and then it will actually get rendered as $age only, because it's not going to replace the variable with the value. Okay, so you can also avoid ambiguity. So ambiguity means that if you get confused with the same usage for some another thing, say for example, one of the simplest ambiguous statements that you can make is with the I went to the bank, right? It's not clear whether I went to a bank institution or I went to the river bank. So same way over here, it's quite possible that we may get confused, because $age, we don't know whether that's going to be a part of the string or whether it's going to be a variable. And to avoid ambiguity, you can enclose the variable within the curly braces. Okay, so you can put the variable within the curly braces, and the curly braces, right, won't be evaluated within the double quotes, because that's used for ambiguity, reducing the ambiguity. Okay, now you have arrays. Okay, so you can declare an array using the function array that will create an empty array, and then you can go on adding things, etc., if you want. Okay, so for example, $a is equal to array parenthesis, right, that will create an empty array of length 0, and once that is created, you can do $a of 0, which means that you are going to insert at that location 23. Okay, and okay, that's one example. Another example that they have shown you is that you can actually pass the values that you want to put into the array as the parameters to the function array. Okay, so whenever you call the function array in the parenthesis, you can add the values, value 0, value 1, value 2, up till value n. Okay, and you can then get the element value by the $name index. So 0, 1, 2, 3 up till n plus 1, correct? Is it n? No, it is n, up till n. Okay, so that way you can get the values by C or C++, and then you have $name index equal to value to set a element value. Or else if you want to append something to the array, you don't have to specify the index, and you can just do $name equal to value, $name square brackets open close equal to value. Okay, that is to append something to the array. So $A is equal to array, a of 0 is equal to 23, to set 23 to the index 0, a2 of array with some strings in an array. Okay, so you have sum at a2 of 0 you have sum, a2 of 1 you have strings, a2 of 2 you have in, a2 of 3 you have an, and a2 of 4 you have array, and then you are trying to append another value. So at the index a2 of 5 you will have the OOH, and for assigning that you have used the append operation, where you do not specify the index but you just simply use the opening and the closing square brackets. Okay, so where you don't specify the index. So you have different functions with arrays. So as I told you, right, when you are going to work with PHP or any programming languages, so I would like to tell you something over here. Okay, for example, how many of you heard about a term called polyglot? I'm trying to bring my system stuck, I guess. Okay, I guess I will. How many of you heard of this term? Are you able to see this term, students?
Sir, it is visible.
Yeah. Can you read it, please? Okay, polyglot. So let's try to understand what do you mean by polyglot, right? So I've used define polyglot. So that is going to search on Google and give us the definition of polyglot. So polyglot is the peculiarity or the or a person able to understand and speak multiple languages. Okay, multiple languages. Languages are informal, right? So if I know Hindi, I know Malayalam, I know English, or definitely I know these 4 languages. Of course, I can Tamil. I do not know to read and write, but alphabets I'm just right now because my daughter is learning Tamil. Okay, so knowing or using several languages. Okay, so it says that New Orleans has always been a polyglot city. Now this polyglot is not something that is related to only informal languages. Polyglot is also related to formal languages. Formal languages as in our programming languages. So a polyglot is someone who can probably write in different programming languages as well. I'm not saying probably. I heard this term polyglot for the first time when I was working in the industry, when I was going through the training in the boot camp in the industry after I joined there to work after finishing my PhD. So polyglot is peculiar ability for a person to pick up a new language and use multiple programming languages, right? And same way, the reason why I mentioned polyglot right now is because I wanted to tell you, when we want to solve any problem, right, you can think of any problem. This will be understood, whatever I'm trying to tell will be understood by the people who write programs. So for example, I know for any given problem statement, I need to carefully tackle the data to produce the output, correct? So which means that depending on the programming language that I may be using, I will have to use the constructs that are applicable to that particular programming language such that I will be able to solve the problem. But you know that a person who programs very well, or a student who has done programming himself or herself will know that they would have had to put in a lot of effort to actually write down the logic so that the computer can execute it and the computer can produce the output. So now which means that you will have to follow a lot of procedures, or you will have to understand a lot of procedures and understand what it will do, and apply that in writing your procedure, or in writing your logic, or in developing your logic. So which means that there are different functions. One function may mean a particular thing in C programming language, and the same function may be there in another programming language with another meaning. Okay, so these are all the different functions that arrays have, like count. Okay, so we have strlen, right, or length in Python, strlen in C and length in Python, to find out the number of elements in an array. So we have function called count. Then you have print r, that is going to print the array's contents. Then you have array pop, array push, array shift, array unshift, using arrays as stack and queue. You know stack and queue, I believe, right? It's first in first out and last in first out. FIFO and LIFO, that is the FIFO is the stack. Oh, I'm sorry. LIFO is the stack and FIFO is the queue. Then you have searching and reordering techniques like in array, array search, array reverse, sort, r sort, shuffle. Okay, now how many of you have done programming in Python? So those of you who must have run programming in Python will know that it's quite infamous that the Python programs are quite slow, but it is also a fact that when you do not know which data structure to use properly when you are working with Python for a particular problem, you will end up in that kind of a situation. So which means that over there you have to use the correct data structures like array and NP arrays, etc., instead of using the list that is inherently provided by Python default. Okay, so yeah, so which means that you will have to always use a good library for implementing your functionality. Okay, so there is NP, that is numpy arrays in Python. Okay, in similar way we have array here, and there are multiple array functions which will allow us to do multiple things. We have in array, array search, array reverse, sort, r sort, shuffle, which are all related to searching and reordering. Then you have array fill, array merge, array intersect, array diff, array slice, range, and these are for creating, filling and filtering. And then you have array sum, array product, array unique, array filter, array reduce, which are all for the processing the elements. Okay, which means that when you have to develop a particular project, which is something that I have already floated for this CS for you guys, right? Now, okay. Now, when you have to solve that problem, right, you will have to go through a lot of things and make sure that everything works as per your logic, and you have to develop the code accordingly. And do you remember why the reason why I explained .htaccess and web hosting on the shared host and the Apache configuration and other things, the PHP code and the PHP server installation and all those things? Okay, because it is the system that we are going to work with, and it's no longer it is not only about the code. Now you must understand, because we are going to have multiple computers talk to each other. Some other computer is going to send you data, and your program should be made in such a way that whatever data they are going to send to your computer, right, should not break your program and should not cause your program to malfunction, such as making some deletions or causing some hacking, like crack intrusion system problems, etc. So you have array functions. Then you have some examples I mentioned here. Okay, so let's try to understand what is written here in this example. So we have a variable TAS, which is an array which contains MD, BH, KK, HM, JP. MD at 0th location, BH at 1st location, and JP at 4th location. Then for I equal to 0, that's $i. Dollar is required to be used as it's a variable. So any variable will always start with the dollar symbol. So for dollar I equal to 0, dollar I less than count of task I plus plus. So count of tasks, we know that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, but the index is maximum 4. That's the reason why we have less than. I am sure I don't have to explain this to you, because you must have written multiple programs so far in until your semester 6, and you know this, even in your sleep probably. And then what they do is tasks of dollar I is equal to string to lower dollar I task of dollar I, which means that you take an MD and you assign small MD instead of capital MD. So after this particular loop executes, you will have this as the output: MD, BH, KK, HM, JP, all in small letters. Then we are trying array shift. Okay, so array shift means it is actually the first element is the MD, right? So it's like a queue. So array shift dollar task, they have removed the first element. Then array pop dollar task, it will remove JP. Array push MS, it will put push at the last, because push and pop is related to stacks, and shift and unshift is related to queues. Okay, so you have then you have array reverse, which will reverse the contents of the array. So BH, KK, HM, MS was the previous array. Now you have MS, HM, KK, BS, BH. So as I told you, this is all about data manipulation. This is all about data representation and manipulating the data, making the logic and making sure that it works for the data that you have with you. Then we have a sort task. Sort task is going to sort the array in the dictionary order or the alphabetical order. That's what I would say. Then you can have best array slice task 1, 2. So 0, 1, 2. So 1, 2, it takes the elements starting from 1 to 2 including 2, and this is an array slice 0, 1, 2, HM and KK. Okay, so the array in PHP replaces many other collections in Java: list, stack, queue, set, map, etc. So how many of you know about dictionaries, etc.? I mean, dictionary is a data structure in Python. You must have come across that, right? Did you have a Python programming language in your semester 2, or is it only the new curriculum who has that, like the 2020 batch onwards?
It is started for NEP, sir, not for us.
Okay, it started for the new batch. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I think you must have, I'm sure you guys have already looked into Python, etc., because I think I myself have plotted a project some time back, right, on software engineering, and that was on Django and Python, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, which means that these are all certain things that you will definitely come across. My suggestion to you is that, when you are working, do not, you can ask your seniors who have completed their engineering and started working somewhere as well. They will tell you that whatever we have learned, right, it's just the basics, and we are going to build on top of that in the companies and in the places. And the selection of the programming language not only depends on the popularity of the programming language, but also by the training and the availability of the people as well. So a lot of factors get influenced, which means that you should never stick on to just one thing. You should be in a position to pick up things quickly and very fast, and that itself is the reason why you have come and gotten a seat in IIIT Trichy, because you have cleared your JEE and you have qualified and you have that analytical skills, and now it comes to the developing more skills with regards to computer science. So the reason why I told you this is, do not ever say that I do not know a language completely. You should actually put in and strive and put in your effort constantly, so that you will be able to develop that habit in the long run. Okay, in the long run, because that is going to help you a lot in the company. So for example, when I was in when I joined in a company, I joined after my PhD, and you know why I made such a decision to join a company after my PhD, because I had never worked anywhere other than academia until then. So I wanted to see what it is like. So I was lucky enough to get a job through the campus placement held at IIT Roper. That was definitely competitive. I was competing with the BTech students and as well as the MTech students and other PhD students, and I was the only PhD student who got who got selection. So once I got there, right there we had a 3-week thing called boot camp, and in boot camp we learned a lot of programming languages. We wrote in Kotlin, we wrote in Swift, we wrote in Ruby, we wrote in Java. Okay, we wrote in YAML. YAML is actually just like your XML and your JSON, okay, but YAML is used for DevOps kind of things. Like for example, we worked on Docker, we worked on Kubernetes, we worked on virtual machines. So with virtual machines we worked on something called Vagrant. So if you look up online as well, you will see some of the blogs that I have written regarding these things when we were going through the boot camp. So all of these things, right, in just 3 weeks. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So it's not like we learn something and that's the only thing that we are going to use. As I told you, this PHP I have used it about I've used it in the year 2006 and 7, not after that. Okay, and now I'm teaching you this thing. Yeah, then you have for each. Okay, so take a look at this example on the below. Okay, so you have an array called stooges, which is an array with the values Larry, Mui, Curly, Shem. Okay, so for each stooges as stooge. Okay, so which means that it is like for each in, just like how you have in your Python, if you guys know that. Okay, does anyone know that what I'm trying to say? There's a command like for each in range 1,5. I can do that, right? Is it possible, students? And then I can write, and then I can write print each into each. So that's the Python equivalent of doing that. But when it comes to PHP, right, the syntax changes slightly. So there's something called for each, where you have the array name as stooge, which means that the stooge is the iterator. Stooge, S-T-O-O-G-E, stooge is the iterator that is iterating over stooges. Okay, so stooges is an array which contains Larry, Mui, Curly, Shem, and then you have stooge, which is the iterator that you have created, and then you can actually Mui slaps Larry, Mui slaps Mui, even himself. Okay, so they have written even himself. So that's a convenient way to loop over each element of an array without using the index. But you can do that with the index as well. As in earlier, right, we had seen for I equal to 0, I less than count of tabs. Here we have for each in stooges. For each stooges as stooge. Then you have something like the Boolean type. Feels like summer, false. PHP is rad, true. Student count 217. Okay, non-zero bool of student count. So is the student count a non-zero value? So bool, right, bool of a number will always return true if the value is not 0. If it is 0, it will return false. Okay, so the following values are considered to be false, all others are true. 0 and 0.0 are false, and an empty string is a false, and 0, a string which has only the value 0 is false. Null is also evaluated as false in the Boolean type. Arrays with 0 elements, if you have an array, say for example earlier, right, we have seen an array called $name or $a. So before you execute $a of 0 is equal to 23, right, $a was empty. So if you try to use an if condition over there, and check or bool of $a, right, it will actually return you false. So you have if you have an array with 0 elements, then that is also evaluated to be false. So false prints as an empty string, no output. True prints as a 1. Okay, and you can cast the data type, any data type, to the bool type using the casting, like in the brackets bool, right? Now then you have math operators, right? So we have math operations like $a equal to 3, $b is equal to 4, $c is equal to square root of power of $a 2. So power of a square plus b square. So square root of a square plus b square is c. So you can actually implement all of these things. Of course, you know, as students in an important and in an institution of national importance who have come here on merit, you guys know to do this without using these functions as well if required. Okay, but there are these functions and libraries also available. So you have absolute, ceiling, cost, floor, log, log10, okay, max, min, power, random, round, sine, square root, tan. Okay, then you have m underscore pi, that is your pi constant. Then you have m underscore e, which is your natural number. Then you have m underscore ln2. These are the math constants. So the syntax for method calls, parameters and returns is the same as Java. Okay, so they are actually trying to show that it's somewhat very similar to Java, and I would say that it is also very similar to C and C++, but of course maybe C. Okay, okay. Now let's take a look at this example. Here name contains a name is assigned the string Victoria, and then the name is deleted and value null is assigned to it, and it checks if is set name, this line isn't going to be reached. So if the value, right, if the value of name was Victoria, then this print line will not be executed. But if the value is null, right, then the print line will get executed. So a variable is null if it has not been set to any value, undefined values. It can be assigned to constant null. It can be deleted using the unset function. Can test if a variable is null using the isSet function. Null prints as an empty string, no output. Okay, so that is what happens with the null. So I think let me just go to the SSH Anoop at IIIT. Let me use this. You know, last week I had enabled round robin, believing the contractor who was doing the work in the institute, he asked me to set up the web server behind the NAT and they will enable forwarding, but they never enabled it. So I had 2 IP addresses pointing to our server, and it resulted in a 50% failure also because of that. And then I had to delete it. So I was SSHing using the IP address earlier. So here, right, we have CSOE13 folder. Let's do an ls. We can see that there is cat trial.php. You can see that there is something called some print statement with the HTML is getting printed, right? So let's just go and go to the website and see if we are able to execute the trial.php, right? CSOE13 / trial.php. You can see that it gets executed, and you can look at the page source. You can see that it is not showing you anything related to the PHP itself. It is just showing you the HTML. It has just returned the HTML page to you, right? All right, and where am I? Okay, so you can print the HTML tags in PHP that way, but it's not a very good idea. Okay, because you know this can cause a lot of errors. So for example, let us take a look at the code. Okay, you have this complete code written over here, and it says that using the HTML tags in the PHP, right, this way is error prone and it's a bad style. Okay, so must quote the HTML and escape special characters, etc. Okay, but without print, how do we insert dynamic content into the page? Okay, we can have things like, you know, say for example over here, right, we have a greater less than question mark equal to expression and then question mark greater than symbol, and that is a PHP expression block. So in your HTML, right, if you have H2, the answer is 7. In the expression block H2 close, it will print 42. So that is like equivalent to, you know, PHP print expression. Okay, so you can use the equal to instead of the so in the, see, usually what we do is in the angular bracket question mark PHP print expression semicolon question mark angular bracket close, but you can actually replace that with angular bracket question mark equal to the expression and question mark greater than. That is going to evaluate it into the proper place. Okay, so PHP expression block evaluates and embeds an expression's value into HTML. So this is an example for an expression block. Okay, so let's say you have the HTML code like this: doc type HTML, HTML head, title head, CSOE13 embedded PHP, body close, HTML close, and inside the body, right, you have a PHP tag. So that is going to define for I equal to 99 to I greater than or equal to 1, I minus minus. Okay, and it's printing 99 bottles of beer on the wall. That's a song, right? 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer, take one down, pass it around, 98 bottles of beer on the wall, and so on. Okay, so that is what it is going to print, and you can see that it has embedded the expressions at only at certain places. So you are not you don't have to write it this way, not this way, this way. Okay, we don't have to necessarily do it this way. We can do it this way as well using the expression block, because this way is error prone. Okay, if you do it the so there can be like common errors with regards to these things, like unclosed braces, missing equal to sign. Okay, so here, right, there is a missing equal to, and and this loop, right, is never getting closed. So if you forget to close the braces, you will see an error about unexpected $end. If you forget equal to in less than question mark equal to, the expression does not produce any output. Okay, so these are all the common errors that can happen, which means that, you know, once you write the program, once you develop the entire PHP code, it's quite possible that you will come across a situation where you find it is not giving you the answer, and to find out whether it can give you the answer, right, you will need to then do a lot of debugging, and you will need to look into where you have missed the things. So definitely what you can understand from whatever I have spoken to you right now is that no matter what programming language you do or program it in, the idea is that we are always programming the logic, and based on the differences in the programming language, there could be some differences in the syntax, or there could be some differences in the usage of the functions, or there could be different methods available. Okay, but more or less syntax is very important. It's only about data manipulation that we are doing, etc. That is what you can understand. Okay, so So you can also have complex expression blocks. Okay, say you can have the expressions go inside the HTML tags and attributes as well. For instance, over here, right, they are developing H1, H2, H3. So this is a level 1 heading, right? H2, this is a level 2 heading, this is a level 3 heading. So H1, H2, H3, the tags are also populated using the complex expression block. So we have the expression block as well as the complex expression blocks. Okay guys, just a second. Is it time up for today's class? Has the next
Yes, sir.
Okay, has the next class started for you?
We should join, sir.
You should join. Okay, I think so there are few concepts that you must have come across the PHP the tutorials that I have shared with you, right? Like cookies, session variables, etc. Do read up about that. Okay, do read up about the cookies, session variables, how to manage session. For example, have you both pondered how will you manage a user login session on a website? So you might have index.php, and then from index.php you may go to addition.php, then you may go to listing.php, then you may go to trial.php, and different things, right? But you can see that once you log into a particular website, right, it will greet you with hello Dr. Anup, good morning. And when I go to the next page, it will still identify it as me. How is all of these things done? Have you come across that already, students? Can someone answer? It is through the session variables and the cookies. Have you come across that? So you should definitely read up about this. Okay, just search on the internet for the concept of cookies and sessions. Okay, so this is very important that you understand it, because without understanding this you will not be able to implement a lot of functionality on the websites. Okay, so you must have seen that the European Union, right, the European Union has given some rules that you cannot force the cookies on the user's computers, and the user has to explicitly agree to use a cookie on the user's computer. With the cookie, right, there can be a lot of things. For instance, the browsers will be able to track each and every activity of yours, etc., and all of these things. Okay, so a cookie is a small file with the maximum size of 4 kilobytes that the web server stores on a client computer, okay. So when we are connecting to the server sends something and it is getting stored on the client computer. Once the cookie has been set, a page requests that follow return the cookie name and value. So I can also use the cookies to set up some immediate simple preferences like color, font, etc., as my user preference when I visit a particular website. Okay, or it can be managed through the database and things like that at the server end. Okay, so just go through this. Okay, I'll send you this link. Go through this, it's important. And that's it, guys. So I just wanted to tell you about this particular thing. Now after this thing, right, after the CT2, we will go ahead and learn a little bit of database things and how we will use database with our PHP, etc. I mean, there is nothing much to do there. It is only configuration. You have a username, password, and the server IP address or the database host name. Okay, you have to set up these things, and for setting up these things you have to first configure your database accordingly and set up these things on your PHP thing. Okay, so that's the whole idea. Okay guys, so I've sent you these 3 links. Please go through. This is the unlisted video and this is the listed one, public. Okay, this one is actually a bit of confusing thing because people will be able to see it because today's video is going to be public. Okay, so I request Avinash to actually note down the links in the document that I have shared. Okay guys, so I also try to give you the CT1 marks this week, but unfortunately I was supposed to finish it today. Unfortunately I met with an accident and all of these things. So right now after the class I am a little bit relaxed as well. Thank you guys. So let's meet in the next class. See you. If you have any questions,
you,
you may
sir.
ask. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.
Sir, about the
Yes.
assignment 2,
Yeah.
when is the last day of submission, sir?
We can decide it. So I haven't decided the last day of submission. You can take at least 3 more weeks. 3 more weeks as in from now or from the time from now. Okay, so which means that CT2 week, 1 week after CT2 and the next week after CT2. So CT2 is
Okay,
from 28 to 3, right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
28 to 30, sir.
28 to 30. So which means
Yes.
that is first 1, 2, and I think you should ideally then submit it. Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong place. 28 to 3 or yeah, 30. So 1 to 8. I think you should submit it on 8th of April. 8th of April or 11th of April. You can decide and let me know.
11th of April.
Which day?
11th of April, sir.
11th of April. Is everyone okay with that?
I will ask, means they left for another class. I'll ask everyone.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so just inform them and.
Sir, about
yeah.
that grading, it is just for the concept, sir. Means problem statement.
No. That was just to, that is 1 mark to show that they have submitted it on time. So those students who
Okay,
will.
sir.
Yeah, so that will be included in the assignment 2 marks. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rishitesh, and thank you everyone. Let's meet in the next class. Bye.